3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm Clever Pigeon. This is Rain World. This is my submission video that I'll use for various marathons that I want to submit this game to. This is for the any percent category, this one. The reason I'm making this specific video is because the nature of the game would make it, in its unaltered state, quite marathon unsafe. There's a lot of RNG with the different creatures in the world. They can be in different places. Sometimes they can just stop you dead in your tracks and you lose minutes at a time. So what I've done is that I've loaded the dev tools into the game, and what that will allow me to do is to press the V key to teleport my character, the Slugcat, around to the mouse when I hold it down, and that will allow me to get out of trouble, escape in a pinch should I need to, which will help this run sort of keep some sort of semblance of marathon safety together. But even so, even with the dev tools, I think it's still quite a worthy showcase in a marathon. It's still quite a lot of fun, and I will try not to abuse it too much, so that we can see some of the shenanigans that the creatures can cause. So I'm going to go ahead. This is on the Survivor difficulty. I'm going to hit restart game, and time will begin once this circle with new game in it fills up to the top. So, go. I've already done my first strat. I held S, and what that did was cancel the loading of the intro cutscene for the game. So instead of loading it just to skip it, we don't load it at all, which saves a bit of time, a few seconds. This is the sort of tutorial section for the game, where it introduces you to the basic mechanics of the jumping, climbing, and eating. We're just going to breeze through it as quickly as we can. That's the first shelter of the game. We are going to ignore it for now. You can see that movement is done via backflips, slides, rolls, and a combination of these things. I need to gather up some food to eat, so I'm getting these blue fruits first. So I've got 4, which is enough to hibernate, but what I really want is 5. Because that will allow me to execute a glitch a little later called karma caching. That's a noodle fly. It won't hurt me unless I attack its babies, in which case it will do as much as it can to kill me. I'll play it safe and go around the green lizard. The green lizard is strong, it's quite slow and not very mobile, but it's hard to kill. Because I didn't manage to get a bat fly earlier, I'm going to grab this. Just here. The safety backup food. That's a pole plant. They look like poles you can climb on, but they can grab you and eat you. And now we're going to go into our shelter here and go to sleep. And this little bit of food will automatically be eaten as I sleep. Now the glitch I'm going to execute is called karma caching. So I'm just going to hold down to force myself to sleep, and this introduces the game's starvation mechanic, which is that you can sleep and gain a little bit of karma that you can see there in the bottom left without enough food, but the game won't save your progress. You can then quit out within 30 seconds because the game lets you do that without it counting as a death. And the game won't save your starved state, but it will save the karma you've gained. so you can abuse this to quickly get the karma that you need to progress through to the end of the game without having to go and find a lot of food everywhere. So what we need is 4 karma, and we've now got 4 karma, so we're all good. I like to pick up the fruit and eat it after I'm done, just for fun. Good luck, almost. Oh. We're now quickly moving on. We're going to make our way down to the first karma gate we meet. And the next area in the game of this speedrun. So I've got to wait here for a bit while this gate opens. I'm carrying this thing, this little rock, because it will boost me in the direction I throw it, which is useful for a jump coming up. So now we're entering the drainage system. I thought you'd be there. So the green's flashing at the end of the pipe means there's something on the other end. And it flashes. Each different creature has a different colour that it will flash. The different coloured lizards do actually have different abilities. That pinky purple one is smaller. And it's easier to kill, but it can climb the poles that you can, while the green one can't do that. Oh. I'm trying to avoid here a salamander, which I don't think is here. Yeah, it's over there. Salamanders are a type of lizard that are particularly adept at moving in the water, and one of them likes to lurk in that room, so you got to be careful and watch out for it. We're going to be making our way through the pipes in the drainage system. And we're making our way downwards. Being careful not to drown as well. Being careful not to fall into this specific part, particularly because those leeches will gang up on you and pull you to the bottom of the water, and you'll just drown. Which is no good. It's very annoying. You'll see I'm kicking off pipes at the corners. You can kick off the wall behind you and it gives you a speed boost. I can also get that boost coming out of the little pipes. The little transport pipes. And kick the music. I'm going to be doing a lot of wall jumping here to get up because it's faster than climbing the pole. It is harder than it looks, by the way. And now we're close to entering the next area and the penultimate area of this run, the filtration system. First, we've got a few more things to avoid. Down here, there's that red outlined thing, that's called monster kelp. It eats you much like the pole plant, but it's bigger and harder to avoid. We're now going to enter the filtration system, and I am going to adjust my monitor settings because the filtration system and much of the game from this point onwards is actually very, very dark. So I'm trying to get all that I can out of this and try to up my visibility. Oh, fell right through. We need to go into this pipe. Alright. In the filtration system exist creatures, they're black lizards. They can also be called mole lizards. And you can see one over to the left. Their heads light up when they hear something. They're blind, but they will travel to any sound they hear. I get the distinct feeling that one is in this tunnel ahead of me. Oh, I missed the spear. Grabbed a rock instead. Oh, there are some. We want to try and avoid them, obviously. Because dying will put us back at the shelter we were at. What I'm going to do is that. Oh, and obviously they can feel you if you touch them as well. Thankfully, the RNG was pretty nice to us. They didn't really get in the way. And now we're heading downwards from the filtration system to an area called the depths, which is the final area of the game. And it's also a one-way travel. Or a one-way trip, I should say. You can't get back up there, at least not without cheating. Which technically I could do with the dev tools, but I mean, that's no faster. So right, I'm going to talk about what's coming up in the depths. What's coming up is a skip called the Guardian Removal Skip, or just Guardian Skip. So there are creatures in the depths called Guardians, and they're supposed to block you out of the very last area in the game, because you're supposed to explore the world in order to reach a high enough karma level to pass by the Guardians without them killing you. But we haven't done that. We haven't unlocked any karma levels past 5 because we've gone straight to the depths. So what we do is that we manipulate the game's room loading system in order to only partially load the room with the Guardians in it, which will cause the room to load but the Guardians to not spawn. So we can just walk right past without anything bothering us. The skip is load time dependent, which is a bit rough as far as this category goes in a marathon. If I'm able to know the load times, or perhaps if I end up just having to look at them with the dev tools and see when the room's loading, then it'll be easier, but otherwise it's difficult without knowing the load times in some way or just watching them. So the skip's coming up here. Turn around. I'm going to count. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if all goes to plan, that was one Guardian in there, but the 3 in the next room should not appear if all goes to plan. Come on. There we go. And if all doesn't go to plan, they'll be here. But no, thankfully I got it. They aren't here. By the way, if I do fail this in a marathon setting, I can just whiz past with the dev tools. If needs be. Although I would like to be able to show the skip off. It is possible to just like teleport past the Guardians by whizzing Slugcat to your mouse. Now we're entering an area I call the Depths Caves, and you can see this slow motion melty effect is really taking hold at this point. Movement in here consists of a lot of throwing stuff, because in the Depths Caves throwing things is really useful, as the slow motion effect amplifies the speed boost you get from throwing stuff. Oh. There's a lot of uneven geometry on the ceiling and on the floors that you can get caught on, and it's quite difficult to see as well, so I'm trying to throw stuff and catch what I can. I'm also trying to roll jump where I can as well. Oh, I missed those spears. Was just barely too far ahead of them. Timings for some of the things, like the slide jumps, change in the slow motion, which can mess with your muscle memory a bit. Oh, hit the roof. That's alright. We still got a roll jump out of that. Alright, going into here, I'm just going to try and keep stuff that I find, because of a big jump I can do in the next room. Okay, and the effect is going to get a lot stronger in here. I only had one thing to throw instead of two, but we're still alright. I throw something off that massive jump, and I get a nice boost forward. The game's going to get a decent bit louder from here on out. And there will be moments of quiet as well. It's going to move between loud and quiet quite rapidly, so please be aware of that. You can see in how I'm swimming diagonally as I take strokes. Zigzagging or swimming a bit like an eel actually gives you a little bit of a boost forward. It's faster than just swimming straight in a direction, which is very useful here because we've got a lot of swimming to do. What we've entered is just called the Void Sea. Or what we've just entered is called the Void Sea. We're approaching all of these creatures called the Void Worms. The slow motion effect is lessening. A lot of noise is kicking in. Story-wise, this is a very big event. But speedrun-wise, what we want is for the Void Worms that come close to us to push us downwards. Which saves time because we're trying to swim really, really far down past all of them at this point. And this can make or break a run. It's happened to me before. That's bad RNG because it pushed me up. It pushed me upwards quite a long way there. swimming rhythm is quite precise. You just sort of end up floating adrift if you mess it up, so you really want to keep a good eye on, or a good ear, a good feel or something on the rhythm of your swimming. It also changes as you move further downward into the void sea near the top. It's slow to start with, and then it gets faster once you're down here. So what we're listening out for is a big loud noise. Once that's here, we start swimming back up to meet it. And this is one of the void worms. I'm just going to let it inspect me for a bit, and eventually, given enough time, one of its tentacle pincer things will grab me and hook me on a string, and then Slugcat gets taken on a wild ride. So this bit is particularly loud, and it's a cutscene, so I can't do anything to change its speed. After this we've got some more swimming, but that will be the final bit of the run. Ride has ended. It's going to let go of us in a minute, and hopefully it won't pull us backwards. Okay, it's let go. It's going to go off and it's going to be quiet. It'll be back in a minute, so it'll be loud for a moment again. Now we're just swimming at the deepest point of the game, in the void sea. You can see there's a glowing light in the bottom right that will start to appear. Also various copies of me will start to swim alongside me, which you could say is significant in lore and in the story of the game, but I'm going to not say much about what this actually means story-wise for the game, because it's quite out of left field from how the game presents itself, like when you're looking at it on Steam or something. The game bills you as being a slugcat trying to find your family, and this is a bit far out from that, perhaps. So I'm going to be vague as to what this is exactly, but I do encourage people to play this and uncover what it means for themselves. It's going to get loud, it's going to fade to white once I get into this circle, and then it's going to fade to black, and once it fades to black it'll be time. And time. Excellent. That's quite a good run. I'm quite happy with that. The game plays this pretty little cutscene. I'll show it, but I won't really explain it, because it is something majestic that you can experience for yourself when you play the game through. Yeah, and that's Rain World Any Percent. That was quite a good run. I don't think I, at any point, needed to use the teleport to mouse function to save myself. I got pretty decent creature luck this run, and obviously I played it a bit on the safe side as well. Isn't he cute, Slug Cat? But suffice to say, obviously, should that be needed in a marathon run, I'll be able to use it. I also have a Pebbles % demo video on my channel, which does have some demonstrations of the teleport to mouse function, because that run is quite a bit more RNG heavy than this one. So the likelihood of it being needed in that category is more, essentially, yeah. Because that category is longer, you go to more places. But this category in particular, the main thing to talk about marathon-wise is perhaps the Guardian removal skip, because of its load time dependent nature. I can use the dev tools to look at the load times myself and not be guessworking it, or if I get a little bit of chance before my run, I can try to find out what the load times are. I'd escape here, go to the main menu. I can try to figure out what the load times are if I get a bit of time before my run. Should this get accepted, of course. But otherwise, of course, if I fail it, I can skip over it, which is handy. But yeah, that's Rainbow 90%. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for considering this game and this run for your marathon. This is a general demo video. I may submit this to a number of marathons in the future, but you know, love you all very much. So whoever you are, thanks for considering it. I do appreciate it a lot. And I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you very much. Bye.